mission and the purpose in it. And it's also why I'm so grateful for you being here as a guest and being here as a business owner, because I think we make an impact on financial independence for women. And it has heart and soul to me. I grew up with a single dad, and I feel actually at this point in my life I can look back and say, man, I was a lucky kid. And I think that if you might have looked at that life externally, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Because it was a wild adventure of being raised by, a woman who got pregnant as a teen and did a lot of sex, drugs, rock and roll, and had a lot of problems with mental illness. And it made me really strong. And it made me really committed to the idea that I was going to be able to take care of me, and that I was going to be able to use whatever passion and powers I developed to help other women do the same. Because it's a powerful ripple effect on the world. And so I love what I do because I love why we do it. And I love you for being here, because without you, it's nothing. So whether you're here to try a lotion, know that our whole point, we are glad you're here, tell everybody, because our whole point of being is to go hello, right this way, is that we're about a platform for empowerment. And we combine the heart and head, which is how is it the smartest, most amazing, flexible work for women and a few good men. We don't forbid them from joining. It's just that the passion is clearly about lifting women up and giving them confidence and courage and community and all the things that help women to be successful. But when I want to talk about tonight is well beyond business and skincare and accessories. It's about just having the moment where you really ask yourself, what do I love? Because to do what you love, you actually have to ask yourself first, what do I love? And that's actually a valid question, don't you think? Because a lot of times, especially in the world, as people of influence, so people who care about what other people think, sometimes you're confused as to, do I love it or do other people love it? And do I love that they love it? What's the difference? Am I trying to please or am I actually pleased? And how do I know the difference? And actually, because I loved it yesterday, do I love it today? Or you have to, has anyone asked themselves lately, am I soulfully connected to what I did today? And how I used my time on this planet? Am I madly in love with what I do? And sometimes it's a scary question to ask because you think to yourself, holy shit, what if the answer is no? Then what? Then do I have to find a reason why it's no and maybe blame the world or think of what reason why I can't go make a change? Or do I have to face the fact that actually, maybe I could ask that really old question, come up with a really good answer. So I want to think to yourself, what are some of the things that you used to love and you don't love anymore? Anybody think of any? What was that? Shout it louder. Jelly shoes. I thought you said jelly food. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that either. Okay, jelly shoes. Okay, fashion is a great one, right? I used to think my hair that went like this was awesome. It was so awesome. In that moment, I loved it. Right now, I don't love it. I changed my style, I changed my mind, I changed who I am. Love changes, okay? What else do you used to love that you don't love anymore? Jägermeister shots. 100% yes. Right? And at the time you were doing Jägermeister shots, and the life in which that would be an activity on your list, you felt so sad for the old people who didn't go out anymore and have the Jägermeister shots. You thought their life was so lame. I was like, thank God you had the freedom to party. But you don't love that anymore. Now you love something different. And actually, the funny thing about the Jägermeister shots is, how old were you when you were doing that? Yes, 23. I was going to say 18. You really stuck around. Okay. But I love it because that's actually a good example. Did anyone else have a loser partner, boyfriend or girlfriend, and when they were, you loved him and not anymore. It's a terrible idea. Get rid of that. It's funny because when you were making the same shot for that person and the Jägermeister, you also picked a major, a career. And so we should probably question every once in a while whether or not that's also still who you are and what you love. So before I get into other things around how you help pick what you love, just think about the second that actually it's a very good question to ask yourself on a regular basis, what do I love? who am I trying to please? And am I even remotely on the list? Who's on the list and who's not on the list? Who doesn't get to vote on whether or not I'm valid in my choices? Who gets to define if I'm capable or what my skills are, and if I should do this or if I should not do this? Is anyone watching the incredibly fabulous Netflix show, or maybe it's not Netflix, some other show, The Marvelous Mrs.
Yes.
Okay, I watch it for the costumes. Like, it's amazing. But you realize yourself, you're like, what's that, the 50s? And like, isn't it ridiculous? Like, the expectations. But it wasn't really that long ago. And I guarantee you, when someone is looking back 50 years from now, they're going to look at the expectations that are on you as a woman, and it's going to seem as silly as like what Midge is up to, like wearing her, being perfect and wearing the dresses and pleasing her parents and pleasing the husband. It's gonna seem as arcane because the world is changing and we're changing with it. And you've got to ask yourself that question of like, am I the person that I was? What do I actually love? And to discover something you love, what do you have to be willing to do? Try. Does anyone in this room have like children of the sports playing age? Okay, my husband and I currently are raising a bunch of quitters. That's what they do. They have enrolled and quit many, many things, okay? Like, here's what they don't do. Piano, soccer. They don't do singing anymore. They don't do all these different things that they've tried and quit. And some of the things they just didn't stick with, some of the things they didn't like because they weren't good at it. And what did we say? Stick with it. Doesn't matter if you don't like it, you got to work at it to get good. You got to stick with it. You can't just quit. Some of the things they should have quit because they were just dabbling and it wasn't really interesting to them. But to find a passion, they had to go around, and my daughter once said to me, which is awesome, I was asking her about, like, are you going to stick with lacrosse? And she's like, I want to have a thing, Mom, but I really don't like lacrosse. And I'm like, well, are you going to do it? And she's like, I really don't want to be a quitter, but I really want to quit. I'm like, okay, I guess that's not your thing. But it's really interesting because we expect children to, like, have a thing and have a passion. And we kind of expect them to like try bowling, try hula hoop, try this, suck at it, go back, try harder, get a coach, get back up. All of these things that they do to pursue their passion, right? And they have them now. One is an incredible artist. One's an incredible scientist. And they would do it just for fun. It's their passion. They found their thing. They quit all those other things. They sucked at all those other things. They even sucked at the thing that they're passionate about when they were beginning. But they were curious enough about it that they didn't quit that one thing and they kept going. I want to ask you this. When was the last time you went around being a quitter? Trying so many different things that you were going and doing these crazy things you'd never tried, that you were really bad at, that you went to discover? Has it been a while? Because if you have not, you have ruled out the opportunity to find passion, to find a new passion. And what if I told you this? Right now in your life, all there is to know, all there is to discover, all there is to love, all there is to experience, you are already familiar with it. It's done. That's it. No new passions. How would you feel? Sad. Like dead inside, depressed, right? So if you want a new opportunity to something, you're going to have to go back to being an experimenter, a failure, a fool, a quitter, all the things that you have to go through that you would say, if you give easy advice to somebody else, because it's really obvious. Get out there, give it a whirl, who cares what they think? Just give it a try, right? So you've got to go do these things in your life, and it makes sense, because everybody loves the idea of like, oh, amen, do what you love. But here's another thing that you have to be willing to believe in if this is what you want to do. Do what you love does not mean that you love what you do all the time. Okay? Those are two very different things. One is to take it to Fantasy Island. One is like, okay, and what are some of the things that you love? Just shout out something you love.
Travel.
Your husband. That's a good example. Anybody else have like a romantic love in their life? No one else. You guys, let's quit this and get in that bar. Okay, you have a romantic, maybe you do, maybe you don't, or maybe you did or you don't. Anybody, so okay, let's take the romantic love. Is your husband perfect? Is he really a Sometimes. Yeah. Anything you love is also irritating. Okay? Because if I think about my husband, this is my year of love because it's my 20-year anniversary this year. So that kind of, thank you. Actually, I'll take the clap. It's really hard. It's actually really freaking hard to love someone 24 years later. I did not like him the whole time. I didn't. When you have young kids, if you hate your husband, it's okay, you're going to like him again later. Right now, he's not doing anything. It's very irritating. You're going to like him again later. But that is life. Ebbs and flows. And one of the things that you can get more of what you love in life, if you're willing to embrace that doing what you love and loving what you do all the time don't coexist. Actually, doing what you love that includes things you don't like, that's the only thing that love looks like. So I love my husband, but he snores. He does things that are so annoying. Do you want to know what the top of my list is? He does not want me to ever pay for a movie, okay? So if, like, you know, they're free, eventually they'll come out on podcasts, and I'm like thinking like, well, this one's $5.99. I want to watch this one. He's like, no, you have to wait for that. I'm like, no, I earned that $5.99. And I do not have to wait for that. You tell me what to do with my $5.99, and okay, this is 24 years later of togetherness. He's trying to micromanage my $5.99. And other things, like if I pack the car, he is an engineer, he unpacks the car and then repacks the car, and he walks very slow. If he's late, like when he's late, there's a fire, everyone's trying to leave, and this is Chad. And I am a very brisk walker. But I love him. And if I were to get rid of him, I would just replace him with another person to love that also was terribly flawed. And like you also said something, does anybody love their kid?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that love. Because that's a pretty great love, right? You love them beyond reason. And how did that start out? Well, it was good for at least one person. Right? Oh, she got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the laugh. It's good for that was great. You loved the first part, right? Somebody did. Then what happens next? If you love pregnancy, I just feel like you're lying. I feel like you're lying, and you probably say you don't like chocolate and all these other ridiculous things. Pregnancy is horrible. It's magical and it's beautiful, but like you're nauseous, you're uncomfortable. It doesn't make the things hurt that you don't even know should. It's not great. Then what happens? A human comes out of your vagina. There's no hold on that. But actually, let's think about that moment, okay? Because I took all the drugs. I was like, what do you got? I mean, do you go to the dentist and not ask for Novocaine? No. I'll take it. It still hurt like hell, greatest pain of my life before I had my epidural. And yet, I have 2 kids, 2 girls, and when the moment they were placed in my arms, I guarantee there's never been greater joy in my life. Never. The greatest love, the greatest pain, exactly the same moment. So when you start to see that love coexists with pain, you start to say to yourself, maybe I shouldn't avoid it. Maybe I shouldn't let it give me it's like a signal to quit. It's not. It's not a signal that you don't love it. It's not. It's just what love looks like. It's just what passion feels like. Because you have so much heart in it, the heart can get hurt. But that's the only way to live. It really sat with me when we brought Brene Brown and I heard her speak. And she said, humans are not thinking creatures that sometimes feel. They're feeling creatures that sometimes think. And that is true. Like whether you're happy every day, it can ebb and flow. You can be in the exact same situation, but you're emotional, right? We're all on a roller coaster. So one thing that is for sure that you need to know before we get to the next part, you need to ask yourself, like ear to heart, listen hard, what do I love? And you can't just say, well, I don't love what I do. I'm not going to do it. I quit. Doing what you love requires saying, I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to hurt. I'm willing to do things I don't like. I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to persist. I'm willing to put myself out there all the time for the luxury and the gift of love in my life. And so when you think about that, you think, God, that sounds, okay, who's like, I'm in, sounds good. Okay, I'll do that. I'll go try. But the thing is that you to yourself, but I can't. And this is where your protection comes in. You're going to say, well, I want that, but I can't do that. She can, because boy, is she courageous, or boy, does she have blonde hair, or boy, does she have this particular connection in the market, or boy, she was born with this family or that. There's going to be immediate protection that comes in and tells you all the reasons why somebody else can succeed at that thing, but not you. And you're going to think, well, here's why, and that feels good, because there's a little juice in it. It feels good because then you're not accountable. It's not your fault. You can blame some other reason why her superpower is not yours. But the reality is, you create love in your life. You persist through whatever comes your way in order to experience it, because you don't look at other people's strength as your weakness. You realize that you have personal power. It's different, but it's not less than. You focus on your superpower, what's unique about you that's amazing, and you amplify it. You, instead of focusing on your weakness and what you don't have. Circumstances, who cares? That's yesterday, right? And your innate ability, that really doesn't matter much. And do you believe that? Telling ourselves that there's some born gift that somebody has and that's why they can do it and you can't, that's sometimes true. When is that sometimes true? Athletes. Sometimes. And my dad always used to tell me this. He's like, how tragic would it be? And he's like old in his team references. You're going to be like, who is Larry Bird? Or like Magic Johnson. He'd be like, how sad would it be if Barbara Streisand wanted to play basketball and Larry Bird wanted to sing? And you could be like, you know what? You could get coaching your whole life, but you're not going to be a legend in that. But you know what we say? We look at the glamorous world of athletes and entertainers, and we use it as evidence that, you're born that way. Therefore, I can't do this. You're like, yeah, that's not really relevant for this. Physical talent is really not relevant to 99.9% of if you want to be the fastest person in the world, you better have a certain physique, right? And train hard. But that's not really required for likely what it is that you love. Right? That's just one of those things. What is it? What is it that you would have to have in spades? It's actually proven time and time again. It's not IQ. It's not the smartest people that go on to be the most successful. It's not the born richest that go on to be the most successful. It's not this particular neighborhood or circumstance. Why could they do it, not you? Never comfort yourself with that lie, because it's not true. And what it does is it takes your personal power, your superpowers, and it crumbles it up like trash and it tosses it. And you deserve better than that. You need to know how fierce you are, and how strong you are, and how great you are, and how comfortable you need to get in your own skin with being loud and proud of what's great and magnificent about you. And I want to tell you, you are insanely fierce. And I want to prove it to you, too. Okay, because you are a freaking miracle. You don't just have a superpower, you're a freaking miracle. Do you believe me? Does anybody feel like they're a miracle? Anybody feel like, actually, you know what, today kind of sucked. I'm not a miracle. Actually, total loser. Right? But I want to just point out the odds for a second that we've come together in this grand history time, and we're just standing here in this brewery in Charlotte. Okay, and I'm going to ask you to do something that's going to be a little bit weird. Go with me. You trust me? Okay, it's going to require stranger danger touching of the person next to you.
Stranger danger.
Okay? Just not moving.
I think we're already touching. I don't think we have to
You don't have to go far.
Okay, we're going to leave there for a while.
Oh, okay, we're first date.
Okay, come back for a sec. Now, here's it. Now, if you want to make people giggle and uncomfortable, tell them to touch the person next to you. 100% of the time. But here's the thing. Now, what you're really going to have to do is you're going to have to close your eyes. Okay? You're going to close your eyes, and I want you to think of something and imagine something for a second. I want you to imagine that the person next to you that you've gently got your hand on their shoulder is actually your mother. Okay? Just for a moment. Okay, I don't even like my mother when I like this exercise, okay? So, don't strangle her. Just get your mother. And I want you just to really help your mind go on this little journey by imagining a specific detail about your mother. The color of her hair, what she used to smell like, her favorite song, what she used to eat, where she lives. Just really visualize her, okay? And then I want you to think that the hand on her shoulder is your grandmother. It's her mother. I want you to think about your grandma for a second, and I want you to remember the sound of her voice. Maybe you knew her, maybe you didn't. Or maybe you know some detail about her, color of her eyes, color of her skin, where she grew up, kind of how she lived in, did she drive around, right? And I want you to go one more person and think of your great-grandmother. Now you're imagining her life, and this really different life. No TVs, no internet, no automobiles, no planes, no penicillin. And you're thinking about just that generation that you're connected to, and you're thinking about that. What did they eat? What did they learn? What was their education level? Right? And just get to just think about that person for a second in their world. And I want you to imagine that this room that's connected, of just a gentle touch on someone's shoulder, is all of your ancestors. They go all the way back to the beginning of time. And you want to think about those languages they spoke, the places they lived. And then we just want you to open your eyes for a second. Nobody can go back more than 4 or 5 without finding war, famine, disease, illness, depression, floods, any natural disaster, different languages, different continents. Like all of do you know how many bullets were dodged for you to be here right now? Or do you know how many people were just eaten by a tiger a long time ago? Right? Or starved in the plague, or died off in a world war where millions of people died. Somehow, your fierce ancestors got you here now. And when I think back to mine, right, I think about my grandma, who was one of them is Stella, right? The other ones, they were poor, they worked in factories, they had 2 jobs, they had 4th grade educations, and that was more educated than her mother. They had the right to vote, they didn't have the right to vote. And it goes all the way back to this place where they had so much struggle, so much hardship, and yet they persisted because they wanted, what do we all want? Better life for the next generation. I don't just want it for my girls, I want it for the planet, I want it for the world, I want it for all women. I want for all of us to stop thinking so much about gender and think more about humanity, right? And equality on a bigger level. All of those people from the entire beginning of time, they just wanted that too, for the next person that they could touch. Because no matter who you are and what you think, generally, you want wealth for your offspring. And that unites us. And so if you think about what all those people went through to get you here, they did not put you here and go through all that for you to throw away your personal power. They did not get you here and think of that for you to play small, for you to be afraid, for you to over-worry about what other people think of you. They put you here to discover what you love and to do it, to change your mind and to redefine yourself, to not say, well, I'm creative or I'm wise and strategic, to say I'm both. To not say I'm not qualified, that's not what my career said, that's not what my degree said, that's not what my parents want. They put you here to be strong enough to say, what do I want? And to be tough enough to be willing to work for it. Knowing that, frankly, we're living an easy life compared to most of the humanity of time, right? I always feel like I've won the lottery. Won the lottery. And that is amidst the realness of everyone's life. Because the other reality is, in this room right now, there is cancer, there is divorce, there is mental illness, there is joy, there is pain, there is grief, there's financial struggle, there's all of that. There's pregnancy, there's all of that all the time with humans. But what did we remember? That pain and love coexist. Struggle and success coexist. Struggle creates success. It doesn't happen in the absence of it. So when you realize that and when you embrace that, you are now primed to do what you love. And whether you use whatever platform, whatever exploration that is, I want you to know that you've got a superpower that made you amazing, that you inherited from all the ancestors that came before you, that wanted you to have nothing but love in your life. So with that, I want to open it up for any questions.
When are you running for